Welcome back to the Sharing English podcast, where we explore stories from the English-speaking world, spoken slowly and clearly for curious English learners like you. Let's get started. Hello, I'm your host, Freya, and today we're going on a journey into the wilderness of the American West. Imagine steaming geysers shooting water into the sky, canyons painted in bright yellows and reds, and herds of bison roaming freely. This is Yellowstone, the first national park in the United States, and actually the first national park in the entire world. In this episode, we'll explore the story of how Yellowstone became a national park, why it was such a groundbreaking idea, the natural wonders that make it so special, and how it inspired the global movement to preserve nature for future generations. Of course, Yellowstone's history goes back long before it was named a park. Native American tribes lived in and around the Yellowstone region for thousands of years. They hunted, fished, and told stories about the powerful forces of nature they experienced there. But for European Americans, the area remained a mystery for much longer. The Lewis and Clark expedition passed nearby in the early 1800s, but they didn't quite make it into Yellowstone itself. It wasn't until the mid-19th century that expeditions began exploring the region more seriously. One of the first major expeditions was the Folsom Cooke expedition in 1869, followed by the Washburn-Langford Doane expedition in 1870. These explorers returned with stories of strange geothermal features like geysers, boiling mud, and colorful hot springs that seemed almost unbelievable. That's where artists and photographers played a crucial role. Painter Thomas Moran and photographer William Henry Jackson created amazing images of Yellowstone that captured the imagination of the American public and convinced lawmakers that the land was worth protecting. On March 1st, 1872, President Ulysses S. Grant signed a law creating Yellowstone National Park. This was a revolutionary act. For the first time in history, land was set aside not for farming, mining, or profit, but for preservation, for the benefit and enjoyment of the people, as the law stated. This decision marked the beginning of the national park idea, something that would eventually spread around the globe. At the time, it was hard for people to imagine protecting land simply because it was beautiful and unique. Yet Yellowstone set a precedent that nature should be preserved for future generations, not just used up. So what exactly makes Yellowstone so special? Let's start with the geysers. Yellowstone has the largest concentration of geysers in the world, including the famous Old Faithful, which erupts almost every hour with astounding regularity. Then there's the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone, with its dramatic waterfalls and colorful rock walls. Yellowstone Lake is one of the largest high-altitude lakes in North America. And beneath it all lies a massive volcanic system, sometimes called a supervolcano, that fuels the hot springs and geysers. Wildlife is another highlight. Yellowstone is home to grizzly bears, wolves, elk, and the largest free roaming herd of bison in the United States. It's one of the few places where visitors can still see such a wide variety of large animals in their natural habitat. Yellowstone's creation sparked a bigger movement. Other U.S. parks soon followed: Yosemite, Sequoia, the Grand Canyon. And in 1916, President Teddy Roosevelt established the National Park Service in order to manage all of those parks. Today, the United States National Park Service protects 433 different places, including national parks, national monuments, historic sites, national forests, and national seashores, among many other classifications. The creation of Yellowstone didn't just shape the United States, though. It shaped the entire world. Other countries quickly saw the value of setting aside land for protection, and many modeled their own parks on Yellowstone. In Canada, Banff National Park was established in 1885, making it the first Canadian national park. Today, Canada has more than 40 national parks that protect the Rocky Mountains, Arctic tundra, and coastline. In Australia, Royal National Park was founded in 1879, just a few years after Yellowstone. And it's actually the second oldest national park in the world. Australia now has hundreds of national parks covering deserts, reefs, and rainforests. In New Zealand, Ngoriro National Park was created in 1887, and it's famous for its volcanic landscapes. So dramatic, in fact, that they were used in the Lord of the Rings films. And of course, the United Kingdom joined the movement much later, creating its first national parks in the 1950s. Unlike the earlier U.S. model, many British parks include towns and villages, balancing human life with natural beauty. Today, the national park idea exists in nearly every corner of the world, from Kruger National Park in South Africa to Fiordland in New Zealand. Yellowstone's birth in 1872 truly set off a global movement to protect and celebrate nature. But Yellowstone isn't just about nature. It's also an important part of American culture. Over the years, it has appeared in Hollywood movies, documentaries, and even cartoons like Yogi Bear's Jellystone Park. More recently, the TV drama Yellowstone, starring Kevin Costner, has brought new attention to the region. While the show focuses more on ranching and family drama than on the park itself, it has reminded millions of viewers of the rugged nature and impressive beauty of the American West. Yellowstone has become a symbol of wilderness, freedom, and the idea that some parts of nature should be protected from development. Today, Yellowstone is visited by millions of people from all over the world. It remains a living laboratory for scientists, a haven for wildlife, and a source of inspiration for anyone who sets foot there. More than just a park, it represents an idea that preserving nature is not only possible, but essential. Some people even call the U.S. national parks America's best idea. And it all started with Yellowstone. Now I'm curious, Have you ever visited a national park? In the US or in your own country? What was the experience like for you? And if you haven't, which national park would you most like to visit one day? Let me know. Thank you for listening to the Sharing English podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you'd subscribe, leave a rating or review, and share the podcast with a friend who's also learning English. You can find out more about me and the podcast at our website, www.sharing-english.com. New episodes of the Sharing English podcast are available weekly wherever you listen to podcasts. As always, let me know, what topics are you interested in hearing more about? Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep sharing English.